in this day and age where most of the adults buy their collectibles from online retailers, there's no such thing, or there should be no such thing as shelfware. It doesn't exist. It's a Jedi mind trick. Okay, and I've got some good examples of, I've got different Black Series and different TVC items, all with, you know, some are in good condition, some not so good, and we'll have a look and see why. This is a recent pickup of mine, very happy. This is a near mint. This is not mint, it's a near mint condition first order elite snow trooper, and I like it because it was actually quite hard to get at the time. And it comes with a soft goods cape, and then on the back you've got this beautiful Toys R Us sticker. In Taiwan, Toys R Us, I don't know, man, they keep like opening and closing down, opening, closing down, and you can never keep up with them. They used to sell the Hasbro figures for Star Wars, but now they don't anymore. So I really like this one, and I just think the sticker's been put on just right. You know, sometimes they're a bit lazy with the stickers and they put them on lopsided. So this is good. As a collector, I think this is not bad actually. A little bit of shelfware, you know, this on the corner here, but that, I don't think that is really too much of a big deal. So yeah, this did come from a store. So this is something that has not come from a store. All right, so this is my latest acquisition of Mole. I've been looking for this dude for some time. I got him in one of the Facebook groups in Taiwan from another seller who's a collector, and you'll find there's a big difference when you buy from another serious collector online. Man, they put a lot of time and energy into their packaging, and also the way they describe the condition as well. Like, they're very honest about it. So this one was described as being near mint, unopened, and that's exactly how I found him when it was sent to me, and it was packaged really nicely with all the soft, you know, the air pillows, and everything was kept in good condition. So this one, I think maybe I'm going to keep it in the box because it looks so good. Number 11, the Clone Wars. And then, okay, let me show you an example of something that I picked up, but it was something that I picked up from a department store. The department store, what they try to do is, well, okay, let me show you one. All right, this one first. This is the Trapper Wolf exclusive, and immediately you'll be able to spot the damage, right? It's right here. It's been played with. It's been opened and closed so many times because it's been on the shelf, that it's got this part here is like completely ripped. And also, actually, I think this was supposed to be, there's a little black sticky tape here. I think this is supposed to be stuck down, which is to prevent the shoppers from doing that, pulling it open, and so they've obviously broken the seal. And that's what happens when you put them in stores with kids. I mean, and the place I went to is in like the downtown area of Taipei, where all the really expensive Japanese department stores are. You know, they sell really expensive items. You know, it's a real high class area. So it's, I mean, you can see this one's been dropped on its butt a few times. That's like squished up there. So this one's in really poor condition, and I'll definitely be opening Trapper. So yeah, and then I've noticed that a lot of retailers who have brick and mortar stores are trying to protect them from the kids and from just like shelfware. The only shelfware. The only problem that I have, like with my stock, is dust. That's it. Because once I take them out of the Hasbro case, I don't want to put them back in again, because I try to limit the number of times that I take them out and put them back in, because every time you do that, then you risk you know, damaging the product. You're going to get a little scratch on it, a little nick on it, a dent, and we don't want that. So anyway, you can see here that the store has tried to minimize this damage by wrapping it in cellophane, which didn't do what it was supposed to do, because if you look at the bottom down here, it's this part's ripped already. So they took an item which was already an exclusive, and it's already damaged, and then put the wrapping on it. Pointless. So yeah, I just think that these things should not be my own personal, like, my thinking, right? You can disagree with me, but I don't think that the Black Series or the TVC should be on kids' toy shelves any longer. I think Hasbro, the way they promote their products through Hasbro Pulse and through live streams, they're talking to an adult audience. They're not talking to 4-year-olds. They're not talking to 5-year-olds. These are not kiddie winkle action figures anymore. These are adult collectibles. And even just to call this a toy is kind of ridiculous, in my opinion. A toy is something that is necessary for a very young child in order for them to grow and learn. They use it, you know. Play is very important to a child's education. I have a master's degree in education. I spent the last like 15 years teaching preschool. Most of what they learn comes through imaginative role play, you know, play-based learning activities. And so toys and objects play a huge part of that in how a kid you know, processes information and develops skills. You know, not, you know, mathematics, science, you name it, communication skills, you know, having toys and then being able to share them with other kids and having them be nice to one another and play together. So, like, to describe something like this as a toy from, like, my point of view is kind of ridiculous. Like, when you consider how hard it is to get them, and the fact that they're collectibles and they're like quite expensive. The price just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. There's lots and lots of detail on these things. So to have the 4+ on here now, I just think is getting silly, and we need to, I don't know, Hasbro really should address that. You know, they should separate the lines now more clear than before. I know it's been an evolution over the last 20 years, hasn't it? Over the last 20 years of e-commerce, you've seen adult collectibles really take off. You know, you had that whole generation of NECA, and then you had the McFarlane, and you know, Sideshow collectibles, and what's the other one? Hot Toys from Hong Kong, and but then other toy companies like Hasbro, who are traditionally just, you know, selling the toys for the kids. They want a piece of that action. They want a piece of that market, right? And they're very smart. So they did that. They've managed to cut into that market with this style of action figure, 6 inches. You know, it's got a lot of detail, a lot of good paint apps. It's got really cool articulation. And now we see this, you know, this is a hobby now. There's a whole community and a subculture around it where you've got customizing, and you've got like diorama building, and the collectors want to put them in the acrylic cases and have them graded. So this is not, it's not a kid's thing, is it? Because playing with a toy for a kid is not a hobby. I mean, if you ask a kid, why do you play with toys, and the kid said, you know, it's my hobby. I mean, when you ask your child, like, do you have any hobbies, and they say, yes, I play with toys, that they're never going to say that. No kid is going to say, playing with my toys is a hobby. Okay, maybe a hobby. I mean, kids really, honestly, don't have hobbies. They just have activities that parents will encourage them to do to help them to, you know, become more mature and develop their social skills, develop their, you know, emotional skills. And they're not really hobbies, are they? Until you get to, I'd probably say, like, in your mid to late teens, you start to develop some serious hobbies. Hobbies are things that you do in your free time, and they usually cost a bit of money as well. They don't have to. But this is an adult hobby, right? So this is not a toy. This is an enthusiast would buy these, collect these, sell these, trade these, what have you. So I'm getting a bit annoyed with the 4+ on here. I think Hasbro in the future, you're going to have to sit down and you're going to have to discuss that, you know. I mean, I always, I've said this before in my videos, like, when was the last time you saw a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old kid walk into Walmart and say, excuse me, sir, I'm looking for the latest San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. You know, like, this is just, kids just walk into toy stores and they just point at things and they say, I want that. And most of the time, the parents are making the decision for them, right? So, but you're an adult. You make your own decision. It's your money. It's your disposable income. So this is not a toy, and you're not a kid. So I really wish Hasbro would change that. Kind of does my head in. But this is a good example of a mint condition card back. This is one that we've got, which is fresh out of the case. All right. This is the Taiwanese import sticker right here. I mean, there's no scuffs on it, there's no creases, there's no warping of the card back. It looks fantastic. So, you know, in my store there is no such thing as shelfware. It doesn't exist, because I get them and they stay 100% in this condition forever until someone buys it. And then that person can decide whether to rip the bubble off, and they can do whatever they want with it. But when it's in my hands, I'm the retailer. He stays like this. Okay? Right, so I've got, this is an example of one that's been, again, I got from a department store and I picked it up cheap. Why was it cheap? Because again, you know, you're putting these in wrong places. You know, it's been put in the kids' toy store. It's sat on the shelf for like God knows how long. I mean, how long ago did this credit collection Moff Gideon come out? It's a long way back, right? And it's just sat there for months and months and months and months and months and months and months. It's been picked up like hundreds of times. It's been dropped, and there's just like creases and wrinkles all over it. The corners are all bent. It's terrible. It's really awful. I mean, there's obviously like, for someone who's going to open it, then okay, and you're going to throw this away, no problem. But most people don't do those these days. They don't do that, right? People like the bubbles, and the bubbles are not going to go away because Hasbro's basically been forced to put the windows back in again. And I found it a little bit contradictory, because Hasbro said, like, we need to save the environment, so we're going to take the windows out and we have plastic-free packaging. But then they keep giving us tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of bubbles with the 6 inches. So what? There's a plastic on this, right? And sometimes with the exclusives we get plastic windows. So what's the point? I just think that was a really poor, dumb decision. So by the end of this year, I know for a fact that a lot of the Black Series items, you know, those new ones from Mandalorian Season 3, I think it's called the Starfleet Commander, and also the R5D4. They're going to be in, they're having the windows put back in. Let me see, Pike Soldier, the Tusken Chieftain, that wave, I think with Cad Bane as well. There's 4 of them. They're all like going back to the Galaxy line, so there's windows in them as well. So that's cool. Again, it's just weird. Why are you putting these in toy stores? And yeah. I get comments sometimes on my channel, my YouTube channel. People say, you know, well, what can you do? They're only toys. And I'm like, what? No, it's not just a toy. I mean, does this look like a toy to you? Do you know how much this costs just for this little 3.75 prototype Mandalorian? The card back is like so thick, and it's really, this must have cost a lot of money to manufacture. You know, this is not for a kid. A kid is not going to appreciate this either. Yeah, so you can do a little experiment. I mean, you can give a kid two action figures, right? You can give them, I've done this with my friend's son, who is now, I think he's 7 or 8. You know, if I give him something that's very detailed and has lots of articulation, right? And then I say, play with it. Oh, I don't force him. I just kind of watch him. And like one of those wildlife shows, I'm just like watching him, and then he'll get bored of it in about like 10 seconds, and then put it down, and then he'll go pick up something else, because I have other toy items laying around my house, and he'll go pick up something like Lego, or he'll pick up something that's like 5 points of articulation, and he'll start playing with that instead. So he will reject, you know, he would just reject figures like this, because they're too detailed, they're too complicated for him. He's like, there's not really any playability in it for me. I just want something simple, you know, because that's what kids are like. That's the way their brains their brains are, you know, at that age. They want something age appropriate. So for you to put 4+ on here, it's like, that's not age appropriate at all. So it's kind of weird. These are nice. I really like these multicolored ones now. I'm going to start collecting them, I think. Yeah, this was the first one. I know they've been around for a couple of years, but this was the first wave that we got for ToyForceLtd, our company, and they sold really well. And I was a little bit worried about the price tag was so high, and I was like, damn, there better not be any scratches or any damage on there. But because the card backs are so stiff, I mean, God, they're fine. So I think it was the same with do you remember Admiral Akbar that came out like at the beginning of this year, the Return of the Jedi one, and he's got that same card back, the foil shiny card back. Man, they're really hard to damage. I think that's good, but there is an extra price involved. Another thing is, like, when I get my stock, I mean, I'm ordering hundreds and hundreds of cases. You know, I'm not just ordering like 1 case or 2 cases. I'm ordering a lot. So when I get my delivery, the first thing I do is I usually open a couple of cases just to suss out, you know, for quality control. So here's one that you can see that probably wouldn't pass if it was on a shelf in a toy store. Why not? Because the head is turned to the left. Now, you might think, oh, that's very petty, that's a small thing, but that's the difference between someone giving me money and not giving me money. Okay, so when I have conversations with my clients and I take a picture of this and I show it to them, they will reject this like very quickly. They'll say, is this his joke? His head is like, it's not straight, you know. So just little things like that the collectors really care about, and you, as a retailer, you have to look out for that. So yeah, apart from that, yeah, it's in great condition. There's nothing wrong with the card back. No, it's fine. But just the fact that his head is like, there's a lot of them actually with their buckets are turned, and so it looks kind of weird. If you're going to put this on the wall and have it on display, or especially if you're going to have it graded, spend a lot of money, then why would you buy one with a head that's looking in the opposite direction? You know, it's weird. So that's another thing to look out for. And yeah, I think as a store we're doing pretty well, right? ToyForceLtd. Most of my customers are happy with you know, the way we choose the products for them, and then we package them. We don't have any control over the way they're shipped, but we do reinforce those boxes like they're bomb proof. I mean, we put the plastic wedges on each corner. We really make sure that if it's usually America that has the highest like incidence of damages. Like, those packages get no respect. They just get kicked around and thrown around like they're just like an American football. It gets really bad. It actually really makes me angry. But most of the other countries, they seem to be turning up you know, in the same condition the way I sent it, so I'm really happy. And then here's another one is like with the archive, anything that hangs on a peg. I mean, it's funny now, it's funny that we even have pegs. We have the little notch here, right, to that for the peg holder. That might actually become obsolete in the future. I don't know if did anyone ever think about that? Because, you know, I have an online store, so I'm not going to put this on a peg, right? What happens when you put this on a peg? Gravity. So these little, like, these things start to get wear and tear, don't they? And these edges as well are not good, because when you've got them all, when you put them on the pegs, and they try to get as many on the pegs as they possibly can, and they're all like bunched up, like squished up. There's like 10 of them, and then you get like all kinds of damage. Look, you can see this one, the bubble it's just come unglued, because people will just go through, you know, when people are like, it's kind of like when you used to flick through your records when you were younger, and you go to a record store and then you'd flick through all the different records, and that's what people do with these. They go like, and then they all get damaged. So I'm just really not into having adult action figures in kids' toy stores. There's nothing wrong with having a brick and mortar store and then and advertising yourself as, you know, this is a store for adult collectors. This is where we sell merchandise. like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, G.I. Joe, Transformers, but like we're very clear, like the kind of customer that comes in here, they're adults, and like we display them in a certain way. And if you're going to bring your kids in here, then I'm going to keep an eye on them. I mean, I've seen that before actually. There are a couple of like really cool shops in downtown Taipei where they have only adult collectibles in their toy store, and whenever you go in there, they will watch you like a hawk, right? Because when you pick, and a lot of them, there's a sign that says do not touch, do not pick up. If you want to check this item out, please talk to the cashier and they'll come over and help you, you know, because a lot of times families walk in there and their kids go, oh look, what's this, and then they pick it up and drop it or throw it through the air. It just gets silly. So yeah, what I'm going to do is in my next video, as soon as I finish this video, I'm going to do an unboxing of the new Indiana Jones, because this is wave 2. Right, in my store for July, we've got about 20 items that are dropping in 1 month, and it's strange because in June I think I've got like 2 or 3 items already up on my website, like the Hammerhead Doc and Ondor, and I think there's one other, I can't remember, and then you scroll down to July and it's like, what the hell? It's like there's over 20 items, so the schedule is like really doesn't make any sense, to be honest with you. Yeah, these are going to come, this is wave 2 of the Indiana Adventure series. They're going to come in July, so it just seems like July I'm going to be crazy busy. Those retro ones that you saw, I got those last week, and I'm able to get more from the retailers, sorry, the wholesalers, because I sold out so quickly. So I was very lucky with, actually I've been very lucky with Indiana Jones all year long. I've had wave 1, I've had all the exclusives for these, and I've now had the 3.75 retros as well. So yeah, so if you guys like, check out my store, the link is in the description below. If you've got any questions, just put them in the comment section. You can always find me on Instagram, Return of the Nerd. You can send me an email. There's lots of ways that you can get in touch with me, okay? So, you know, the service that we provide here is for like really serious adult collectors, okay? It's like, this is your passion, right? And there's no, again, let me just reiterate, the shelfware, for me, that word does not exist. There is no such thing as shelfware when it comes to my company, ToyForceLtd, okay? Right, I hope you enjoyed that little video today, and then look forward to the next one, because I'm going to actually take these 2 out. Ooh, sexy chest. Ooh. Okay, subscribe. Bye-bye.